What the hell is this?
Where's your Pokemon at? Where's your Pokemon? Right now. I can't see it. What do you mean you can't see it? It's right here. I don't have enough frames to see your Pokemon. What do you mean? I'm still loading in the fact that I need to hear it now. What do you mean that you're loading in right here? If you look behind me, there's a kid with a very spastic leg. I swear that... I don't know what he's doing, but he's there.
What is up, guys? Hope you enjoyed that little bit of a beginning. This is our Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video game review. You're going to see a lot more different things throughout the review. Hope you enjoy this. So we're going to start about the basic ideas of the game. Open world, right? So open world concept for Pokemon was always something that we thought about being something that was a really cool idea. The only thing is, the games needed a little more work.
Need a little more time put into them.
Yeah, they needed... Arceus, same thing in a way. Arceus graphically wasn't the greatest. I mean, it's Pokemon, so whatever. But graphically, wasn't a huge issue with Arceus.
It looked good.
Arceus was more... It had the frame issues with Pokemon that were further away and stuff, you know. It had the tickering thing to it with Pokemon. And this has the same thing, but this one has much more problems than just that.
Like, it feels like they kind of rushed haphazardly threw it out there because they got other games they're working on though too.
Game Freak has a schedule, and the problem with that is when Game Freak has a specific deadline for their games, their workers, they don't have enough employees in order to release their games always at a consistent rate that is not broken. But the thing is Scarlet and Violet was a whole new concept with an open world, something new and different, something that people were really excited for. It is the second best-selling Pokemon game of all time. Second fastest. 10 million copies in 3 days. So, bugs and glitches, right? There's a lot of them. A whole lot of them. But they have come out with some patches.
And frame rate issues. Because you don't have frames.
These games have a problem with staying at a steady 30 frames per second. I think it's been improved a little bit since the previous update. But the crazy thing is, modders, there are modders who have modded this game to run at a steady 60 frames per second. And it looks really good. Like, it runs phenomenally. And that's the cool thing about modders. I wish I could mod my game. I absolutely would to run it at 60 frames. That'd be awesome. But unfortunately, I don't know how to do that.
Like a whole other thing of setting it up and whatnot.
Yeah. So, well, modders are, I don't know, it's crazy that they can do something to a game such as that. When they couldn't even run their games at a steady 30 for preparing for launch. But I guess that's Game Freak. So, the gyms.
Gyms are interesting. They're fun. I'll let you start with this one then.
Well, all I can say is that I didn't have an issue with where I was going, basically, for specific gyms. But going into this game, I liked the concept of being able to go to wherever you want, go through whatever gym you want first. But the thing is that sometimes people went to a gym and it was overpowered and they were underleveled, or sometimes they went to a gym and the gym itself was underleveled and they were overpowered. So I don't really like that idea. I expected these games, when it came to going to a gym, that no matter what gym you went to, that it would base it upon your Pokemon's levels and where you're at in the game.
It adjusted levels and stats. It was kind of like it would asphyxiate the Pokemon's difficulty, like the Pokemon gym difficulty, to where you're currently at. Me personally, I like the idea that you can kind of do whatever one in whatever order you want, with certain limitations, and as you know, to get to some areas you need.
Meowth, use Sideswipe.
Dragonite, use Dragon.
Koraidon, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
Koraidon, you have to power him up more than
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's, yeah, there's different points with the Pokemon that you ride that you can climb mountains, you can make it go faster, you can make it glide. But the thing is that the whole gym idea, it was a neat concept, but they need to fix it if they do, let's say if they do a Generation 10 instead of remakes in the future when they do another generation. So do open world. Continue doing open world for sure.
Great, yeah.
Game Freak has to do open world because now that they've done open world with Gen 9, everyone's going to expect when they do another generation of Pokemon, of course we want open world. But here's the thing. They need to not have a deadline for their games.
They need to be able to push it back if they know there's going to be issues with it. Like, example, this one feels like it was kind of like thrown out there a bit too early because it's got the issues with frames and whatnot. And even trying to play on the line, that's a whole other issue by itself, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because even when you're trying to do like the Terror Raid battles, you could barely get a stable connection but I think that's just on Nintendo's end, though.
Or, your motorcycles.
Yeah. Or just, bugs.
Plenty of bugs. We got to see this clip. What? All right, hold on. Oh! Oh, man. I cannot even tell you how many... I'll replay it. Oh, man. This is going in the review. It's so ridiculous. Dude, that stuff like this happens in the game. Okay, so we can address the different bugs. We already talked about the cycles being invisible. There's points when your character can fall through. People have had their characters fall through the ground, through the map.
No clip through the ground. The entire world of the Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm. So another thing, of course, there were people, as you'll probably see on the screen with the actual clip before, our silly little clip of the Pokemon, when someone would throw a Pokeball and then it just bugs out and the Pokeball stops moving and...
You can't tell if you caught it or not.
Yeah, the game just kind of breaks, it just kind of glitches. Again, these things probably were... A lot of these things might have been addressed in the patch, but again, it took them a good 2 weeks to come out with the patch. I think it was.
It'd be a simple thing if they pushed back the date a little bit before releasing it, because these are like easy bugs that could be.
Yeah, very simple. The game genuinely, I think it needed 3 more months. Graphically, whatever. It's graphics aside, if we ignore the nonsense of the graphics, the gameplay it's fun, but the frame issues, the game not running at a steady 30 frames, the bugs and glitches, the things that are there that are not something that I'd be like, yeah, go spend $60 on this game to play it. No, I know someone who knows somebody that got this game, and they said until they fixed the glitches and the frames, they were not going to play it because they said that they just couldn't. Which a lot of people out there that are very picky when it comes to their frame rates and know the difference between 30 and 60 and 120 frames and stuff like that easily, they will never, ever play something like this. No, not at all.
Even if they are Pokemon fans.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter. Game Freak, I don't know if they really care enough. I made a video before on this after the game came out saying that Game Freak needs to be aware of their issues here.
It'd be nice if they tried to make fully publish a thing with minimum issues. Yeah.
And the thing is that with these games specifically, is that Game Freak, I don't think really it doesn't matter to them because they sold 10 million copies in 3 days. I mean, these games are going to sell probably 20 million plus copies easily because it's freaking Pokemon, and they're the second best selling Pokemon games ever made. Second fastest, I should say, behind Sun and Moon. And the only reason Sun and Moon sold so much is because they came out the same year as Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
which made complete
So
sense.
like,
Made
they
complete
already
sense.
had a big increase of people who were like enjoying Pokemon, or people who are new to Pokemon that were interested in playing.
Yep.
Although my own personal opinion on I wasn't a big fan of Sun and Moon. That's just because I have my own works with it.
I guess they did better. They
did
did better with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I guess.
Ultra Moon, yeah.
But I didn't get to the very end of those because the story for the most part is the same until you get to post game. So that was like whatever. But let's see. What else should we? I mean, there's so many bugs and glitches. We already talked about that stuff, but I think they were aware of those issues and they addressed them and kind of fixed a majority of the bugs and stuff in the games. So that's good. But again, the games still have from far distance. Okay, far distance, you can see the frames. It's
not.
It's yeah. Okay, so another thing is the Pokemon when they come to when you run into them. There's sometimes there's such puny Pokemon on the ground that you can't even see them, or you think they're an item.
Yeah,
like,
you think or something, and you run
yeah.
like 5 different.
There've been times when I'm running into a Pokemon because I think it's a freaking item because it's so small on the screen, and then.
It's not a bug. It's just like it's just annoying after a while because it's like you're just trying to get through a certain area fast and the Pokemon are under leveled for where you're at, and then it's like you just want to get to one place to another.
Yeah, it's so obnoxious, especially when
you have to run away from 100 battles or you just kill everything.
Yeah, especially like you go to run away from one that you run into, and then all of a sudden you just move for a second, and then there's another, and then there's another one.
And then it doesn't help that sometimes they spawn on top of you.
Yeah, they spawn on top of you. Or I seen that clip. I actually put it in here when someone was walking right, and then a Pokemon falls off a cliff right on top of him. Unbelievable that would happen.
Pika Pika.
As I was saying, there's times when you run into a Pokemon, then you run into another, then you run into another, or they spawn right on top of you to where it's like, what the heck? Like, it's kind of obnoxious.
It just gets annoying.
I don't know how you optimize something like that, because the spawns are completely random with Pokemon.
Still, because you can't even get repels anymore.
Repels could be nice, to be honest.
It could just be like something they could add in future.
I think repels would be nice. Well, maybe not with this game, but with Gen 10 when they do it, I think repels would be something that would be nice.
It's nice to have them again, just because if you want to just get through an area without running into anything that's like under lower level, then you can.
That's a good point. He's got a good point there. I didn't think of repels. I forgot about repels. Yeah. I think that having repels as an option would be definitely something that I would say is a really good idea to have in Pokemon, because, well, groups of Pokemon constantly come and attack you. It's ridiculous.
Or you get chased down by the tourists. They will chase you across the entire map. It has happened to me.
Yep. Okay, now I don't know about for him, but for me, the gyms, the games are easy. That's the way Pokemon goes these days. That's how they've been for a little bit now, and it kind of sucks in a way. Although Arceus did a really good job with its post game. Its post game they actually made really challenging. If you know what I'm talking about, the Giratina in the post game was a really hard fight, and everyone died at least once probably to that fight. It was really shocking and a really difficult fight, and I gave them props for that. And then the Gen 4 remakes, they also kept what's her name, Selena or Cynthia? Yeah, Cynthia. They kept her pretty difficult. Yeah, they kept her pretty difficult in the Gen 4 remakes, which is good. But I think that the Elite Four in this game, it was an absolute joke.
Yeah.
Absolute joke.
It was bad. It was bad.
It's a
I don't
joke.
know what happened.
Yeah. The 5th member was the easiest one for me to beat. I killed her like nothing. I had the hardest trouble with the 3rd guy, and that's only because his final Pokemon. But it was a joke.
The dragon, and like I will say, the dragon type like fights in this one were like super easy. I don't know why. Or they sometimes the AI, I don't know if it was a burden. They would make the AI like use like dragon dance or something like that a lot. Like it would get like dragon dances. Yeah. And it gives you plenty of time. Even if you're a little under leveled, you just get in a bunch of hits.
Now we gotta also talk about the Team Star.
Team Star. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing though. ever since Gen 5, I want to say, the teams haven't been that great, and they haven't been any threat. Especially this, there's no threat there with Team Star. They're just kind of this. Yeah, pretty much that aren't going to school.
Like Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, like fucking Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, where they had the different teams that they were actually villains.
Yeah, Team Magma and Aqua. Yeah.
Like the one wanted
awesome.
to
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was after Gen 5, I think, is when after Gen 5 they went downhill completely with that.
They had really
and
good
it's still an absolute joke.
Ever since then, the past that they just haven't had really good.
There's no villains. There's no villains. Penny ain't a villain.
Nope.
None of Team Star ain't villains. They're just a gang that's skipping school essentially.
Yeah,
they're just their own little gang. Although I did like the battles against Team Star, like Revavroom. What are those? Like
cars.
When it comes to the Pokemon designs, there's some very interesting ones.
That one's probably more interesting ones.
I think Gen 9 did better than Gen 8 when it came to the Pokemon's designs, like the new they're not Mega Evolutions, but third evolutions, Primape's evolution. That thing is sick.
And then they have then instead of just it ending off in Bisharp from Pawniard, you get that samurai looking one.
Yeah.
Really
yeah.
Like they did a really good job on the Pokemon in this one.
They did. There was a few weird ones.
Few funky ones. Like how
but I think
there's the pepper.
Yeah. But I think they did better than Gen 7 and 8.
Yeah.
I think Gen 9's designs probably did better than Gen 7 and 8. I think when it came to Pokemon designs, they did some pretty good designs. Some of the names are kind of weird, but like 2 words for some of them.
2 words or just
very weird.
Literally just or kind of like how I mentioned the pepper dragon.
But
thing.
one thing,
just Scoville.
Yeah, one thing I can say that I think is cool though is the fact that they brought weird Pokemon, mythical Pokemon from the very far past through time travel, I guess, in some kind of way. To the future, which have really cool designs. I think we might. And I think that we might end up traveling to the past in a DLC expansion, maybe, which could be something really cool.
Depending on which game, you'd be traveling to the past or traveling to the future, probably.
Yeah, something which I like that idea. That's pretty cool. Ignore that sound. But I don't know where that's gonna go. But as for the story, again, story-wise, not super strong.
I mean, it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed playing through it.
It was fun. Yeah. I feel like same thing as Sword and Shield, kind of. Just a fun kind of
nice little story.
Yeah. Arceus had a threat in the post game, so I mean, Arceus was for me the best since Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl. But that's just my personal take. I love Arceus a lot.
It will always be Pokemon Live.
I think next they might end up doing Gen 5 remakes, possibly with Black and White, but we'll see, and maybe add Black and White 2 stuff in there. I don't know. But what's the other thing? Oh yeah, the giant Pokemon that you had to battle. There was
the
4 of them or whatever. Yeah, the Titans. I liked that. I thought it was fun.
And it had more. It gave you more to do, effectively, especially when you're like me and I never went in order for anything. I kind of just would do things if they were in the area as I was exploring, just knocking them out of the way. But I was exploring. I'm trying to follow the Pokédex anyway.
Yeah.
Still need to finish it.
I liked the giant Pokemon thing.
It was nice. It was a nice little extra thing.
Yeah.
A little extra side story. This game has a lot of side stories you can do because there's 3: the main story, the Arvin's. I'm trying to remember his name. How to say it. Arvin's storyline, and then you got the Team Star storyline. Yeah,
so you had three different storylines to go from until the very end when you go to Ground Zero, which is where stuff happens. That's where
it's like, okay, maybe it feels more like a nice old school Pokemon game, because that area would mess you up if you weren't ready.
Yeah, and you know what about Ground Zero? Slight spoilers here. I wish they kind of would have done what they did with the entire game, where you have a group of characters with you. It kind of gave me Xenoblade vibes, even though I don't play Xenoblade. It gave me Xenoblade vibes when you had a few characters with you, and there was dialogue down at the bottom that they were with you kind of as a group. I thought that was really cool.
I wish there was more of that, honestly.
Another thing is, Game Freak, add voice acting.
At this point,
it's time.
Slight spoilers, but spoilers, but it's the end credits were just bad for the fact that they had like an actual like it wasn't even a
The
good song.
cutscenes.
It was a bad song. They had over the end credits when you complete everything. And then it was like no, it's just bad. It was just not.
My issue is that you look at Legends Arceus and you look at Scarlet and Violet. They have some cutscenes in there that are great and
perfect
they're
for
awesome.
voice acting.
And it's like why don't you have? What's the point?
I would say at this point, I feel like we should.
There
have
should be voice acting at least in those major cutscenes, at least. Even if you don't over like regular dialogue stuff, whatever. But if you have major cutscenes like that, you need to add some dang voice acting because it just doesn't make sense. You are the biggest gaming company on the earth, Game Freak. You have the biggest game franchise of all time. You sell more copies than any video game on the planet Earth, and you're still not adding voice acting to the games. What? Because you have a deadline? Well, if Gen 10 doesn't have voice acting, then that's just going to be downright pathetic because the fans want voice acting.
I mean, at this point, yeah, like we've
Zelda got it
off in old school, and from the old Pokemon games. We're in the stuff here, like you said, with those cutscenes.
Yeah.
It kind of like it kind of throws off the whole enjoyment of the experience when you get those really nice cutscenes.
Yeah.
But there's no voice acting. And
Also, when it comes to graphics, I know it's a ridiculous example, but I look at new Pokemon Snap, and I'm like, wow, this is the coolest Pokemon game. The way the Pokemon act, the things the Pokemon do, the graphics of the water, the grass, everything in new Pokemon Snap is so gorgeous.
With Scarlet Violet, the Pokemon themselves, graphic-wise, they're nice, but just the area, like the story building of like the areas, the waters and stuff like that. It's very bland, very dry.
It is.
It wouldn't take much. I feel like it wouldn't take a whole lot to just kind of put more.
It just needs more
effort
time
into like the water.
They just don't
Making
need.
things look
All they
nicer,
need
like
is
scenic and
to
whatnot.
not have a deadline.
Like we were saying, a
Arceus-
lot of things could have been avoided.
They could have literally, because Gen 4 came out just a year ago, Gen 4 remakes. They could have delayed Arceus from January to like April, and then delayed these games, Scarlet and Violet, to like February of 2023, and it would have done better. Even just a few extra months in the oven for these kind of games can make the biggest difference in the games. But again, the Pokemon games sell like crazy anyways, so it's not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
Nintendo
it
will
sells.
help push them out anyway because allows them to put something out as they're still working on like Fire Emblem Engage, which looks amazing, and then there's the new Legend of Zelda, which I have high hopes for.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a bunch of good stuff.
Visually, they look amazing,
Like I
and
said,
that's
like,
why
because they're working on these big titles, so they get like a game like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like if you've listened in the past, they kind of throw these games like these Pokemon games out when they need more time for bigger titles.
Yeah.
I'm really probably should save it for a different video, but like I'm really excited for the new Fire Emblem game. It looks so clean and crisp.
different video, but not my video. But I don't play Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem fanboy.
I'm excited.
But they just needed more work. But they are fun. If you're a big Pokemon fan like myself, you have a lot of fun. You have a lot of fun. Regardless, you're gonna have fun.
If you can.
As long as frames don't bother you and some bugs and stuff. Again, I didn't even have any game breaking bugs for me. The only issues I had when I went online to do some Terra raid battles, there was a couple that it started the raid battle with the 4 players, and then that's all it did. So I had to restart my game. But that's an online issue, really. I didn't really have any game breaking bugs, just again the far away frame issues, and then my character having frame drops and weirdness going on there sometimes. But other than that, I have fun playing Scarlet, my copy of Pokemon Scarlet. And
like I said,
if you're a big Pokemon fan, you're gonna love it. If you probably already have it then. If you're not a big Pokemon fan, I wouldn't recommend $60 for it. Wait for like the $40 sale or something, maybe. I don't know. Or more patches, If you want to be smart, I would say maybe wait until a few more updates come up for it and then play it. So, anyways, my rating on them, critically, I would give it like a 6 out of 10. Critically, it sounds harsh, but it's true. Just the way the games were released, the way they were released, them not having them delayed, different things, because at launch a lot of people said they were unplayable. Again,
I've seen some clips of people playing it at launch.
Yeah, pretty rough. So critically, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. My personal opinion, I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. How about you?
Me personally, I would say probably about 7. If they can improve some of these issues with like the frames, it could easily be bumped up for an 8 for me. It's a good game. It's worth it. It's really solid. It's definitely worth a play if you can afford it or if you were actually interested in it. But if you're interested, I'd say maybe wait for a deal like he said. But it could be better if they just gave it more time. And that's about it.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's our take on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I really hope that you enjoyed this long review here. I don't know how long exactly it is, but I know it's a little lengthy. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and we will see you guys, or at least I will, him at some point in the future for sure. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Later. What the?
Oh, yeah.
Do that again. Again, frame drops. Do the frame drop. Alright, frame drop test.
Oh!